Hi, I'm Mark Anderson, and welcome to our video about our session at SP Fest in Chicago coming up in December. I'm here with Julie Turner, and we're going to be talking about getting started with JavaScript development in our all-day workshop.
So let's talk about whether or not you'd want to attend our session. So if you are a developer who's copied client-side code from the internet, or a developer who's never done client-side dev in SharePoint, or someone who's done client-side development but is hoping to pick up some tricks, then this session is definitely going to be for you. Or even if you're just a masochist who wants to see what our crazy client-side devs do all day long, you definitely want to come and see us.
And you might want to know who we are. Well, the two of us make up Simpraxis Consulting, which is a company I started in 2008. Julie joined me about a year and a half ago, and it's been a great fun since then. We're very much into client-side development, SharePoint, Office 365. It's really all we do, with some exceptions. And so, we are both MVPs. We sort of live and breathe this stuff, and we love talking about it and helping people do a better job and actually make their customers and end users happy.
So we should probably tell you what we're going to talk about. So our agenda is this. We're going to start off by just talking about what client-side development is. Then we'll move into talking about the browser tools, which is really how you debug your client-side code. Then we're going to lead into how to write a basic JavaScript widget for SharePoint and what a widget is, and then how to communicate with SharePoint using web services and the REST endpoints. Then we'll talk about some better JavaScript coding practice, and then do a little bit about CSS and talk about some of the third-party JavaScript libraries to help you get there faster and more easily.
That's right, Julie. And of course, sprinkled through all of that, we'll be talking about some of the things that we've learned not to do, which is probably some of the most valuable stuff because we've broken everything you can think of. So we'll be talking also about some development frameworks that we think are worth looking into. There's no sort of one framework to answer all needs, and we'll talk about sort of how you can make the decisions about whether to use things like Angular and React and Knockout. We'll talk about some better practices for deployment, maintenance, and version control. We've come up with some pretty slick ways to deploy code that we think are actually pretty nice for adding some rigor to your whole process if you're a JavaScript developer. We'll talk a bit about the SharePoint framework, but this session isn't really focused on that. But we do want to definitely bring it into the discussion because it's going to be where a lot of the work is going to head, and a lot of the things that we'll be talking about earlier in the agenda will lead well into the SharePoint framework and position you hopefully well for using the SharePoint framework down the road. And then finally, we'll talk about how you can think about doing things that are sort of Power BI-ish, dashboard-like on the client side using these techniques. I think a lot of the time we talk about the mechanisms we can use to build things, but we don't show enough real-time, real-life examples, and this section will be where we'll talk about some of that stuff. And of course, we'll have lots of time available in the middle and around the edges to answer questions and run through scenarios that you find interesting or that you're struggling with. We'd love to help you with those things. It's going to be a great day-long session, and we hope to see you there.